We are back, my friends, and I am so excited about this week's episode for a myriad of reasons. First, gave me the chance to connect with some old pals, to chat with them. And second, I am so excited to share their journeys with you. So here's the take. I have received so many questions in my time. Do I go to school for musical theater? What's it like to go to school for musical theater? What are you doing now? Is it worth it? Yada, yada, yada. I took the questions that you asked and I had my friends, my colleagues, highly respected people in my life answer these questions. Now, some of these performers have gone to school to get a BFA in musical theater. Some have not. Some have gone to school for something completely different. Some have not gone to school. So we have all different paths of life here. They're all professionals in the industry. We have people who have been on Broadway. We have people who have been professional ballerinas, people who have been in film and television, people who are working on new works, all different walks of life in this profession. So I wanted you to have a few perspectives on going to school for musical theater. Oh, this is gonna be so good. I'm so excited. So, without further ado, to BFA or to not BFA.
I'm Adam James King, and I am really excited to be here to answer these questions. I have so much love for Megan, so it is really an honor to be here to answer these questions. It's a lot of fun, so thanks for giving me the opportunity to do this. I went to school in upstate New York at a place called Ithaca College, and I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Musical Theater. And what am I currently doing? I live in Los Angeles with my wife, and just finished filming a movie about 2 weeks ago. And before that, I was able to have the opportunity to lead a couple of regional theater shows and film some procedurals like Law and Order and FBI. So.
Hey, my name is Cara Treacy. I went to school at Penn State through their online platform called World Campus. I got a BA in Public Relations and Advertising, and I also went to ballet school at the Rock School in Philadelphia. And currently I am living in New York as a working musical theater actor.
Hi, my name is Brianna Kaleen, and I went to Oklahoma City University where I got a Bachelor of Music in Music Theater, and I'm currently a performer and singer-songwriter based in New York City.
Hello, my name is Giuliana Mancini. I went to NYU's Tisch School of the Arts and I got a BFA in drama with a minor in music. While I was there, I studied at the Playwrights Horizons Theatre School, and I also studied abroad in London at the Shakespeare and Performance program with the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. I'm an actor, writer, and singer, and I primarily specialize in new work.
Hello, my name is Claire McPartland. I studied at Kenyon College in Gambier, Ohio, where I received a BA in drama, and I am now a working actor in New York City.
Hi everyone, my name is Angel Sigala. I went to school at Temple University and got a BA in theater with a concentration in musical theater and acting. I moved to New York about 1.5 years ago when I booked my Broadway debut with a show called New York, New York.
How do you know if you like the program, and what am I supposed to be looking for in a good program? Is it better to look for programs that center around your strengths or your weaknesses? How do you know if you like the program? I feel like I would adjust that word "like" just a little bit because I like things, me personally, I like things that I'm good at. I like things that I can easily do. And so if I was in a program that the teachers were just like, you are just the greatest thing to ever exist in our lives, thank you for coming to our program, I would probably like that program a lot. But I think I would change the word "like" into, how do you know if a challenge or a program challenges you? Because I think that is the number one thing. You don't need to go to school for things that you already excel at. I think you need to go to school for things that challenge you and build up your strengths, but also attack your weaknesses so that you can become just an all-around better actor. I would say if you like the program, mainly that would probably come from the teachers that you have. If you get, one or two good teachers, not all of them are going to be, revelations in your life, but if you get one or two good teachers who take the time to lean into your life and give some insight and find what works for you and what doesn't work for you, I think that's crucial.
I think that if you see yourself living there and or spending 12 hours out of your day in this one place for the next 4 years of your life, if you actually see that as a realistic thing, that's a good vibe. That's a good sign. I think that for me, actually getting to shadow a student at Temple University and seeing what the day-to-day looked like and getting the feel of the community is what drew me to my school. I think, if you're gonna be paying for the school, remember that. So if you vibe with the school, that's a good sign.
I could talk about this for hours. But I think that a program is good if it has what you want artistically, if it has what you want relationally, and if it's in a location that you want. I think that's so important. There are so many colleges to choose from that you can find one that has all three of those. If the people at that school aren't the type of people you want to be around, teachers specifically, don't go. It will ruin your college experience. Like, if you don't like the style of the teachers, that's who you're soaking up knowledge from. Like, you're gonna have to be around them every single day. Those are the people you have to go to for help. Those are the people who are gonna be leading you in the direction that you wanna go for your field. So if they aren't what you want, don't go. Number 2, location. It is so important for your location to be something that you're actually interested in. When I first toured Oklahoma City University, I was like, bro, I just saw like tumbleweeds going by, and I was like, this is gonna be awful. Like, why am I even touring this place? Then I went and I was like, wait a second. Like, this is cute. I was like, I could live here. They had like cute aesthetic coffee shops, and like they had like different towns. It was like, had the Paseo district, which is all just like colored buildings and colored walkways, and then Bricktown, which is just like a bunch of brick and ivy and a cute little like bridge, and it just had so much character that I didn't know would be there. So much nature. There were different places you could hike. There were different lakes. Like, I was like, oh, I could live here. And then if it has what you want artistically, that is so important. A lot of people, when they think of this industry and they're like, I want to go to music theater, and you say why, they say to go on Broadway. Great. That's going to take a little bit of time most of the time. So in that in-between time, what are you going to be doing artistically? Are you going to be in arts management? Are you going to be behind the table creatively? Are you going to be singer-songwriting? Are you going to be writing a play? Are you like, what are you doing? When you answer that, if that school cannot help with that, don't go. If it's not going to help you get behind the table and learn what it is to be a creative behind the table, if it's not going to help you as a songwriter, help you develop your instrumentation, like if it's not going to help you sight read, maybe don't go there. Like, a lot of schools will help you get to Broadway, but will this school help you artistically in the meantime? And if a school can answer all three of those, then it's a good program for you. That would be my advice. I don't think the stature or the name of a school really matters. I think you can go to some school that someone's never heard of and learn more and be more fulfilled and have a great artistic path than going to a school that just has a big name that isn't actually helping you get to where you want to be artistically. So look at the school's actual program and like what they teach you, what classes you take each year, what your options are. Like, look at those classes, see what they learn about, and then see if that matches up with the goals that you have for your time artistically. Like, write a list of your goals artistically that you want to do in your lifetime. Those can always change, but start somewhere. And then look at the school's program and the classes and see if they line up with where you want to go and if it'll teach you how to get there.
I'm sure whoever's watching this has probably heard this 1,010,000 times, but there is no such thing as a good program and a bad program, and let me tell you why. Because good programs sometimes ride on their reputation, and once they have a really good reputation for a certain program, they're like, okay, great, well, we don't need to put money in there because we know people are just gonna go. And not so good programs, or programs that don't have that reputation quite yet, might have like this amazing teacher that no one's ever heard of that is building a legacy that in 20 years you look back at and you're like, oh my God, this person taught this Broadway star, this movie star, this star, and you could potentially be a part of that legacy. And I always think that that's a really cool thing. I think that in order to know what you're looking for in your program, because again, there's not a good program or a bad program, there's a program that's good for you. So in your program, I think it's really important to specify the kind of work that you're interested in. And it might initially be one thing, but I would also encourage you to like really keep an open mind about what inspires you, because that changes as an artist. And it's really important to have goals, but also be open to seeing different things, getting inspired by different people, inspired by different work, and then that'll help you kind of move forward.
So when I was first applying to schools, I was very much in the headspace of, I love acting, I love performing, but I don't know if it's something that I want to pursue professionally. So for that reason, I never really seriously considered doing a BFA because I knew that that wasn't something that I was ready to commit to. I also had a lot of fear and anxiety about going to college and about leaving home. So what was ultimately most important to me in picking a school was finding a community that I could see myself being a part of. And for me, that was like a smaller school in nature with great running trails and a great STEM department and a cappella. And a bonus was the school having a great drama department that I could participate in regardless of what my major ended up being. And for my first 2 years, I did just that. I acted in department shows, I worked in student theater, all while pursuing a neuroscience degree. And I loved getting to do it all until it became clear that theater was where my heart was, and it is what I wanted to do with my life. And as exciting as that clarity was, I also remember it being a little bit distressing because for the first time ever, I started having some regret about not doing a BFA. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, I am going to school on a farm in the middle of Ohio, and now I've decided that I want to move to New York and be an actor. I'm going to spend the rest of my career trying to recover from the opportunities that I've missed out on. And I now have the hindsight to know that that, for me, was absolutely not the case. I was receiving an exceptional education. I was surrounded by peers that would go on to do amazing things in and out of the theater. And most importantly, I was building a sense of confidence and a sense of character that would be the thing to take me where I needed to go professionally and personally.
I decided not to go to school for musical theater because at the time when I was deciding on college or not, I was not thinking I was going to go into musical theater. I was pursuing a career in ballet. So after a year of performing professionally, I came to New York City to kind of like figure out my next steps and just got the theater bug. So it never was really on my mind. And then when I decided to switch into theater because I was already going to an online school, I decided to kind of just like stay the course and study and train with teachers in New York.
Post-grad, what advantages have you experienced having a BFA? This is a very interesting question because it has changed. I'll say off the bat, here in Los Angeles, it doesn't matter at all. Having a Bachelor of Fine Arts, no one cares. But I will say, back in 2016 when I graduated, having a Bachelor of Fine Arts from a school that had a name was super beneficial. And I'm sure it still is. But I think we're getting past the names and actually starting to see the talent and the hard work that people put into it. So I think it's changing a bit. But having a BFA, I didn't really find too many benefits other than just the training that I got. But who's to say that I couldn't get that exact same training or skill set or toolbox that I can use with just a voice teacher and a couple acting classes.
So I want to talk a little bit about what I studied before I answer this question. And like the way NYU's program works, the BFA is much more about the practical side of acting. My specific studio was focused on new work, so the first year you did everything. You literally were taking playwriting classes, you were taking directing classes, you were taking design classes, you were taking movement classes, you were taking acting classes. And so I feel like that foundation has made me feel like I can truly go into a room and do anything.
A lot of people think once you get a bachelor in fine arts or a bachelor in music, like you're only able to sing and dance, but it actually teaches you so many things. I don't think people understand how chaotic and busy a artist's life can be, because you're not only juggling your artistry, which is your emotional self and your voice sometimes and your body and whatever, but you're also juggling like this side gig that you have to pay the bills. And college really teaches you how to balance those things already, but then you put a musician or an artist college experience in the mix and you really are just ready to catch anything. I went into this industry like chill. Like we literally call OCU, Oklahoma City University, overcommitted university, because they just had us do so many things. And so then I got into the industry and I was like, oh, this is easy. I just have to like memorize a side. Wow. And show up to an audition and do my best. I got that. So I think the college experience really set me up for that. It really preps you for audition work, because the job is auditioning, and college does teach you how to audition well, and that makes the industry easier. So I think college really helps you develop like who you are, because you're going to be in a program with a tight-knit group of people usually. My program was a really big program. We had like 30 people. But even with those 30 people, you were trying to be different than all of them. And so you're trying to find where you fit into this like group of people, and then you leave college and the group gets bigger, but it's still pretty small, and you're trying to figure out where you fit. So it's kind of the same thing. I think that's something my degree really helped with.
Did you work while you were in college? If so, how? If not, why? If we're talking about like summer stock and things like that, I did. I worked summer stock every summer of my college degree. And it was great. I learned so much. And even from summer stock, I learned a lot. And I would go into the program with the stuff that I just learned, and you know, some of the stuff they're like, you need to unlearn that. And I'm like, no, this works for me.
I did work while I was in college. I had a full-time job at Starbucks. I also worked at my college, and worked at a church as a worship singer, and worked as a virtual assistant. I was working full-time while being in college, because I didn't want a horrendous amount of student loans. That is the one thing about college that just sucks. Like, if it was free, I'd be like, everybody go, like, do it. But it cost a ton of money, and I was not going to be saddled with like years and years and years of debt. So I worked my butt off. And that's why it was I also was, you know, providing for myself food, and had a car insurance, and I had an apartment outside college. So I was a full adult while being in college, and full adults have to have jobs that make money. And that's what I did.
I worked at the Palladium gym facility 6 a.m. to 10:30, Tuesdays and Thursday mornings every week. Yes, I did. So I did not work professionally. And here's why I wasn't ready. And I knew I wasn't ready. I think a big part of college is figuring out what you want to do, but also who you are. You have all the time in the world after you graduate to work. I know there's a lot of pressure to figure out an equity card, figure out like experience, especially if you're not in New York, you want to get to New York, you want to have those contacts. You only have this period of your life for 4 years. And it's really important that you really cherish it.
Yes, with good scheduling. Most of my work was during the summer. There was one contract that I started towards the end of the year, and I had to really be in communication with both my professors and stage management about my finals schedule and prioritizing school as much as possible, because again, you're paying for it, so don't forget that you're spending money on that. And I think if you feel that you're ready to work and the opportunity shows up, why not?
Things I did to keep training even while not in school was being in regular voice lessons. I found a voice coach when I was about 20 that I really connected with, and I've been with him for a really long time. So having him as kind of a constant was really great. I also was always trying to take different dance classes, connect with different teachers. The cool thing about New York is that there's just like a plethora of incredible teachers and coaches just that teach at all different locations. So kind of find who you vibe with and then keep working with them. It's so important to be regularly in class, regularly working on your voice. And that's something as I've gotten older, it's been really great to see myself continually improve and not plateau because I continue to take class and work hard. So that's my number one thing, is just stay in class, stay in voice lessons, because it's just such a game changer. And it also is great in the in-between times when you're not working. It keeps you really motivated and passionate to keep going.
What is something that you wish you learned in college that could have made the real world easier? Man, that's such a good question. I'm going to say that 98% of your job is auditioning. I think school trains you very well to build that character arc for 2 hours in a theater, or help you build that character arc for 13 seasons of a procedural show or something like that. And I realized when I got into the real world, auditioning is my job. And so I hadn't practiced that a lot. I think I had one audition techniques class, and even then that was very dated. They had the advice of like, you walk in clutching your book, and I had a teacher say like, don't acknowledge them until they acknowledge you, and you set your music down and all of that. And like, I think that's just bonkers. Like, we're human. And I think the moment that I just kind of gave all of that stuff up in my mind of like, this isn't working for me, is when I started booking work. Because I walked in the room as Adam King, and I think my personality matched with my skill set, and the opportunity is, what gets me the job.
Oh my goodness. I could write an entire list of all the things I wish that I had been taught in college. I mean, outside of musical theater, why didn't we have like a budget class or like a finances class, stocks, all that stuff? Like, I should have been learning that in college. We need an adulting 101 class of like how to, and not even just like regular adulting of like how to do taxes or like how to get an apartment or whatever. Like, we need that for like actors. So like how to get an apartment in New York City, how to get an apartment in Chicago, because New York City leasing applications are crazy, and they don't teach you about like subleasing or lease takeovers and all that stuff, and how you need 80 times the rent or a guarantor to even be like considered for an apartment in New York. Like, they don't teach you all that stuff, how much you should really have in savings before you move to New York, what types of jobs you can get on the side that aren't just barista or waitressing, and how to actually go into New York healthily and not just go in with this like actor survivor mindset. And I think I knew I never wanted to be an actor who just survived until they got a part. That's not a life that I want to live. It would have been nice if in college they would have helped with that. I also think we need like a business 101 class in college, like what having an agent is like, how to get an agent, how to read a contract, how to do it all. Like, what equity really means, what types of equity are there. I mean, I could go on and on. There are so many things that they don't teach you about the business. Same thing about like being yourself in the audition room. They tell you that in college, like they just want to see you. What does that actually mean? It would have been nice if there was a class of like, who are you? Like, what are your belief systems? What do you love? What do you hate? What stories do you want to tell? All of that helps you put together who you are to present to the people behind the table. And just as important as it is for you to be able to sing and act and dance, you have to know who you are. But they just tell you in college, know who you are. And it's like, I'm 18. How am I supposed to figure that out? I think a lot of like basic classes are skipped over in college. Same thing with just like how this business is run. Like, what do producers actually do? Who gives producers money? Do producers just have money? What does it take to get a show off of its feet? Like, how does a show go from someone's mind to Broadway? What are the steps in between? How do I get in the room for a creative team? How do I get to that in the brain? I know it's knowing people, but what else is it? Like, all of those questions are things you just like slowly learn over time, which could just be taught in college and make it quick.
If I could do it all again, would I do the same thing? What would I change? Would I go to school for musical theater? Probably not. I could have easily gotten a degree in something else and taken voice lessons and acting classes, and it probably would have been a heck of a lot cheaper, and I probably would have had the benefit, the same way. So, but I kind of fell into the cookie cutter of do this, this, and this, and you should succeed. I kind of fell victim to that. So I'm gaining that back after I graduated.
Probably yes. I would still go to a program with BA training that just felt a little bit more grounded, and I would still choose a community that I felt was worth investing my time into. Would I maybe actually do the 4 years of my training? I don't know. I think that by year 2 or 3, I felt like I had enough resources to start auditioning for professional work, and I booked professional work, and I think honestly I could have maybe not finished the school year, but I wanted to have my degree, and I had already invested 3 years, so I was like, might as well. But I know people in the business who don't have a BFA or a BA, but I also do know a lot of people who do, and who use this BFA, this education to make connections, and then to help them get into the rooms that they're supposed to be in.
I 100% would choose the same path if I had to do it all over again. I am so fortunate to be pursuing a career in theater next to incredible people that got degrees as well, right? So there's not really one size fits all. And for me, having a more flexible, less traditional schedule and training regimen has been helpful for me. And I think that the most important thing for all of you deciding, which path should I take, is to really trust your inner self, right? We all have that voice inside of us. We all have that gut instinct, and it really is telling you where you need to go. So I think listen to that, trust yourself, and know that it is not one size fits all. There are many ways to make a career in this business and in other businesses. So follow the path towards your happiness, not the path that you think you have to go down.
If I could do it all again, would I do the same thing? That's a hard question. I've thought about this often. I graduated in 3.5 years from Oklahoma City University with a Bachelor in Music and Music Theater. I went in not knowing anything about musical theater, and I think all the time of like, what would have happened if I had just like stayed home with my family, gotten a private lessons voice teacher, gotten a private acting coach, gone to a dance studio, and just like put all the money that went into college into private lessons. Like, would I have learned faster? Would I be a better singer, a better actor, a better dancer? Like, I think about this often. And I always come back to the same answer. I don't know. During the pandemic, there was a time when I thought about leaving OCU and doing that, like going full like private lessons, just pouring all the money into it. And I got to the same place of just like, I don't know. I guess I'll just graduate faster. And that's what I did. I had some wonderful teachers and some wonderful people at that school who I met who have changed my life. The connections you get at college are so important, not just for like the industry, but also for your heart and your growth as a human. I think being isolated and just like learning wouldn't have developed me as a person as much, but it might have developed me as a singer, actor, and dancer more. But I don't think it would have developed my artistry as much. So I think I would have been probably a better technician of all the things, but not necessarily a better communicator with those outlets like acting, singing, and dancing. And so I actually, as I'm talking, I don't think I would change a thing. I think I would have gone, if I could do it again, I would go back to OCU. I would still graduate early. I think I would have probably minored in something that would have helped me have a side gig, whether that's like business or communications or religion or something that I was interested in. I think I would have minored in it to allow me to pursue a long-term thing on the side of acting. But other than that, I think I would have gone back to OCU.
So my advice, if you're on the fence about a BFA or a BA or a degree period for that matter, is to use whatever resources and information you have at your disposal to try to identify a community that you could see yourself growing in. And not just as a performer and an artist, but as a multifaceted person. And maybe that is a BFA program in New York City. Maybe it's a small liberal arts school on a farm in Ohio. Maybe it's a community college near your family. Maybe it's the mountains or the ocean, or maybe you want to take some time to work and put some money away. All of those choices, those paths are valuable, because when you walk into that audition room, they're not going to see how you got there. They're just going to see you. And that sounds so cheesy, I know, but it's true. It's true. And the asterisk here is like, there's so many things that you can't control, right? There's only so many things you can know about a place before you spend time there. And you might be operating under financial constraints or geographical constraints, etc. But the good news is that any place you choose, any place you go, regardless of program or department or degree, it's gonna lend itself to you in some way or another. So control what you can, trust your gut, go towards the thing that feels like belonging, and if you change your mind, rock on.
I hope this brings a little bit of insight, but I'm very, very grateful to answer these questions, and I appreciate it.
Thank you so much to Adam James King, Brianna Kaleen, Angel Sigala, Giuliana Mancini, Claire McPartland, and Cara Treacy for their insight on their journey. I think it is so important for students entering into this phase of life to have perspectives from all different angles. There is no one right path to being a professional in musical theater. If you continue to have questions about going to school for musical theater or not going to school for musical theater, please don't hesitate to leave it in the comments or shoot me an email, megsvoicestudio@gmail.com, and we can make a part 2. Thanks so much for being here. Mwah!